This home video series combines man and machine, defines metal and mud, and rewinds the most outrageous monster truck and mud buggy incidents for a second look. This is Mud and Monster Madness! Let's kick things off with one of the more unusual monster trucks, Snakebite. Outstanding paint scheme and a bizarre reptilian design, plus a 460 cubic inch supercharged engine. My guess is Detroit won't make this a production model. Okay, driver Colt Cobra. He's no stranger to the roller coaster rides monster trucks take all over the country. Suspension very important. You're either going to nose in or belly up. Rule of thumb in a monster truck, if you can get one wheel touching the surface, you're going to be able to pull it out. He was awfully lucky on this run. The replay shows us when he lands, he's in a nose down attitude. Then watch the rear of the truck. It will actually kick up. That's where the problem comes from. The fight for control in Lima, Ohio. What a crowd pleaser. The people were going crazy as the driver tried to drive it out, but he still made contact on the top end of the track. What did he make contact with? The safety barriers. You know, I was interested to talk to him after this run. He really had his hands full. All types of gyrations on this run. Let me ask you a question. We've been watching you on the top end of the track. You are getting your neck wrung every time this truck lands. I mean, your head is really ripping around in there. Does that bother your neck at all?
Snakes don't have necks.
You know, he's got a point there. You know, I never liked spiders and snakes myself anyway. Hey, another harrowing ride of 6 tons, monster truck, monster patrol, Dodge Express. Keep your eye on the guy in the lane closest to us. Watch the attitude of the truck. And even though the Monster Patrol in the right lane was the first over the finish line, all the action took place on the Dodge Express side. In monster truck racing, you gotta hit with both front tires the object you're jumping. This is what happens when you don't. It's called yaw, an aircraft term for flying sideways. Speaking of flying, Kirk Dabney, one of the privateers, drives a truck known as Overkill. Well, he got a little bit overkilled in this qualifying session. Once he's out of shape, he's at the mercy of gravity right now. The truck holds up. The driver walked away. Can't say the same for the fiberglass body. Dabney, when he lands, the rear suspension collapses on the truck. See? Comes around on him. Now he's at the mercy. He's trying to get on the gas. He's trying to throttle up. No, he's too far over. We told you the theory. If you can get one tire to touch, you can usually pull it out. Not the case with Overkill, an appropriate name for this run. As we've said so many times before, Kirk Dabney walked away. We cannot say the same for the truck. Tough break for Overkill. He'll be back for another day of racing, but that's what it takes. Speaking of what it takes, King Kong, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. This guy's an up-and-comer out of the Lone Star State of Texas. Everybody knew that this front-motored behemoth out of the Texas state was going to be tough to run. It was a new track. Nobody knew what the top end held, especially King Kong on this run against the Carolina Crusher. On the throttle, through a pole, upside down and on top of, yes, ladies and gentlemen, landed on top of 2 police cars. Both trucks left the starting line good. Kong takes a bad bounce. Notice again the rear suspension going. He's on the gas. The smoke tells you that. Clips off the Union 76 sign. Now he's trying to pull it back in. 4-wheel drive, 4-wheel steer, but nothing's going to stop it from rolling. On 2 brand new police cars. Ever had a ticket want to get revenge? This might be a classic case of it here. However, I don't think it was intentional. You can see the rear strut that is broken on the right rear of the vehicle. Had a chance to talk to him. Had to be a spooky ride.
you drivers have to do something that's almost unnatural. That is, when you get in trouble, you have to gas the engine. That's exactly what you did. I cannot think of anything you could have done different to get out of that situation.
Well, I don't know. You know, I seen that sign coming up, and all I was trying to do was get it turned back over on its wheels, but nothing worked, you know.
Ironically, this is the very first time that these vehicles have been out. The previous police cruisers were damaged by Hurricane Hugo, and we told these guys you don't need to be parking at the end of a monster truck course. Well, I hate to have been there when he called the chief to tell me about the little accident the police cars had been in. Speaking of accidents, this is a rolling one. It's called, that's right, folks, the Grave Digger. Dennis Anderson is back in town, and you talk about a crowd favorite. A driving style all his own. The Erie red lights tell you one thing, you're going to get 100% from this hearse. A flying hearse at best. No matter whether you're running on a figure eight that's made of asphalt, or you go racing on the straight monster truck courses, Dennis Anderson is going to give you your dollar's worth. Like the Battle of the Hatfield and McCoys, everybody has their favorite, whether it's King Kong, but the name Gravedigger keeps popping up, whether it's against Nightlife, USA 1, or any of the monster trucks on tour. Gravedigger was the one everybody wanted to see. Out of Kill Devil Hill, North Carolina, the kid made a name for himself. The Gravedigger, the monster truck to beat, Dennis Anderson. We'll have more monster trucks a little bit later, but now, the daring downsize, kissing cousins of the monster trucks, the hometown heroes and their daily drivers, those magnificent rough and tumble tough trucks. Here's one of our favorite tough truckers. His name's Shane Ballard. We don't know if it's white on black or black on white, but it is International Scout, short wheelbase, and the crowd in Springfield, Missouri really got a taste of what tough trucking was about. Why? Well, at the finish line, the normal jump is about 3.5 to 4 feet tall. Check this one out, over 6 feet tall. That's called airing one in right there. Shane Ballard. Standing up, the crowd goes nuts. He brought air to the world right there. Alex Naos in the Ford Bronco. Yeah, we're in Pennsylvania now, and he had the crowd on their feet. You know, he was very, very aggressive, and the crowd gets after it. The wilder the crowd, the wilder the truck. It's a vicious cycle. Once again, he's airing that rascal out. We'll ask him a little bit later. Said if he had it to do again, take it a little bit easier. But the crowd, they want more. Then there was Bruce the Moose Scott out of Springfield, Missouri. The first year he came out in his Jeep CJ, literally drove it to the chain link fence. Once again, the crowd, yeah, you're right, they wanted more. Well, a year later they got more. The Moose showed up in a 73 International Scout. It's stripped down, it's racy, and this guy was ready to go. However, we were watching him in a qualifying session, and we noticed the front wheel's a whole lot smaller than the back wheels, and that just may have contributed to what happened a little bit later in the competition. On your nose, in your face, on your head, the Moose. Now the replay's going to come up. We found out the Moose was okay, but the front tires definitely did play a role. You notice the front tire's a lot shorter than the rear tire? When the truck nosed over, it's what they call high-sided. Front tires weren't big enough to hold it up. Moose goes on the lid. We had a chance to talk with him. He was still happy.
We're glad to see you doing okay.
Yeah, it's more fun than it is anything, but we like to put on a show for the crowd, and it helps to get on TV every once in a while. Thank you, Army.
Next stop, we saw driver Dave Fontanetta get on his head with the Team Yeehaw vehicle. Fontanetta follows the circuit with his family, was really looking good, but you might keep an eye on what he just did there. He reached up for the roll bar, something you should not do. Drivers are trained not to do it. But your psychic says when you're going on your head, your hand's going out to protect it. He was okay. Crowd again. They still wanted more. Somebody help me with this seatbelt here, will you? Well, let's watch the flip one more time, but you know, when I did catch up with him for an interview, I was kind of amazed at how laid back and easy going this guy was. It didn't seem to bother him a bit.
You guys are supposed to be doing this for fun.
It was fun. It was fun until I saw the ground coming up, and I said, uh-oh, yeehaw!
Well, we'll let you get over with the EMT. They want to check you out. We're glad you're okay.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to end this segment by watching a night run of Kevin Bliley in a lime green Jeep. He missed a turn, boy, and he knew he was in trouble because the crowd was getting really rough this time. There's only one way he can redeem himself. That's right, we're back to the jump. And remember, you don't finish till you hit the tire. He almost went over. They're after him. He's cranking the motor. Will he hit the tire? Oh, yeah, it's over for Kevin. In addition to tough trucks, nearly every race has yet more thrills. Here's just a sample. Ooh. Onto the mighty mud throwing machines who are out to prove they are not stick in the mud. They're mightier than the muck and stronger than dirt. Part of the National Mud Racing Organization, the awesome Mud Buggies. Buggies come in all shapes and sizes, and all they have to do is drag race to a couple of 100 yards of slick mud and gooey muck. We've seen many times before, anytime you get two or more competitors that go for the brass rings, strange things have a way of happening. They tend to go beyond the envelope. Take Brian Harrod driving the Surf Rat in the far lane. Up against the Chatterbox. Watch him right off the start line. This will show you what a broken axle will do. Immediately hook the vehicle to the right. This young gun making a name for himself in the sport will have to wait for another day. You watch the vehicle make a move, 1,500 horsepower, scoopers on the back, tread tires on the front. As soon as he comes out, you can see he's in trouble. But his competitor, you can also see, has gone the other way. Mike Pacina and the Racemaster chassis combination. Kind of a strange combination in this sport. It works on land, hard land, but not so good on mud. The balance to the rear didn't work as Mike hooked a rut, tagged the hay bale at the finish line. It's all a game of balance. And Mike found out the rear motor combination just did not work for him. Replay shows us Mike coming after the run, gets hooked on the right side of the track, and literally wipes out the clocks. So he just couldn't help it. Car had a mind of its own from half track on. This is the working half of the wild thing, and it looks like this should be the subject of our next little escapade, but that's not the case. Keep an eye on the vehicle closest to you. Yeah, Bruce Wilson comes out with the blue bandit. Makes a good run through the course, but look what happens when he shuts her down. Left turn, Clyde. Remembering if you get one corner to stick, it'll go back right side up. Not the case here. You can see him gas the motor when he came out of the pit. Shutdown area is important in a mud racer. You got to remember they're mucky and muddy and everything. And not all is well when you make a good run. There's two races here, one in the pit and one getting it stopped. He made it through the pit. Stopping was the hard part here. Next angle shows you he made a clean run through the pit, kind of hydraulicked it a little bit, bounced a little bit, but got it turning sideways.